Welcome, Capricorn. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot getting ready to do a Love Gems reading. This is a brief reading related to relationships, passion, expression, sometimes difficultly subsumed under larger messages, but I do my best. This is a general reading. It's not going to resonate for all of you. If you're interested in a personal reading, information for that is in the description box below, where I offer a few different readings. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate all the support that you give me. So, Capricorn, the oracle I pulled for you is the Love card. Trying to get that glare off. That's a little better. The Love card always strikes me, particularly for we Capricorns, is about self-love. One of the most difficult things to achieve, to learn for us, not for everyone, but I believe the Capricorns have been so thoroughly conditioned, many of you have, not all of you, that we tend to believe our job is to support the success and provide the needs for others. The idea that we have value beyond that, we can absolutely understand, but have a difficult time internalizing. So I do believe, particularly with Pluto moving out of your sign in November for the next 250-ish years, after having been currently now in the last few minutes of Capricorn and having been in your sign back and forth for the last 17 years, this is a real challenge that you have learned over and over and over again. From being completely torn down, deconstructed in some way, to building yourself back up again, climbing out of that hole that you have been in for decades. So you are showing up as the Page of Cups. And this is so much openness. This is so much of you really revealing your most tender, most gentle, most empathetic energies into the world. You are a creative being. Your imagination is legion, and this may be some of the tools that you used as a child to cope with the sometimes heavy demands that were placed on you by family members. For some of you, there was a lot of parenting going on uh, towards your parents. There was less of a childhood experience than you would have liked, or things were expected of you that would be expected of someone more mature or older. You, nevertheless, are moving back into this powerful skill set. This is also the skill set that allowed you to see other kinds of entities as a child, who many of you came in with a lot of oversoul information about what your purpose was. I do believe most of us have this experience, but I do believe for many of the Capricorns I'm speaking to, this was a strong experience in your, pre-5-year-old years. The sense of still being connected up with your league of spiritual advisors. But at this time, you are truly opening up in a quite raw state to the promise of authenticity that you feel you have earned, that you are understanding is your birthright. And what's approaching you is the Devil card. Most decks assign this card to Capricorns, and with good reason. Saturn, as your ruling planet, is indeed the taskmaster and can certainly look like a demonic energy or force in your life. In fact, this card feels to me like a huge temptation is on the horizon, ready to face you, maybe tracking you down at this point. And for some of you, this temptation could be in the form of a former lover or friend with whom you felt desperately in love with, but that love never really grounded itself into a real relationship. Many changes have occurred in your life since that time, and this person comes around again, yet again, and this time sounding closer to what it is you always hoped for. Because the temptation lies in the fact that you can actually see or evaluate whether this person has changed, because you have. You've changed a lot, a lot. The last 20 years has brought you through the ringer. And depending on where Capricorn is in your chart, Pluto was in Sagittarius before that. So some of you, like me, that have Sagittarius rising have been through two phenomenal Pluto cycles, constituting at least 30 or more years. And this is really the kind of growth that has turned you inside out. As a result of that, you have grown and you no longer want what you used to want. In fact, what you used to want was what you used to experience was the difficulty in claiming what you wanted in any relationship for fear of naming it and thus losing it, scaring the other person away, knowing how powerful, how strong you are, feeling that you could overwhelm someone with your wisdom, your maturity, your ability to give endlessly. And you were right. However, when this person comes around, because you're able to communicate more efficiently in a more authentic fashion about your experiences, who you are, and what you would like in a relationship, your willingness to entertain a friendship um, will be tested. And I do believe that you know how to respond. You know how to suss this opportunity out. Perhaps it is an opportunity. Perhaps that person really has changed. So I'm going to pull a few romance cards just to lighten up the mood a little bit. I tend to be so serious about everything as a Capricorn. And from the Spiritual Instinct deck, I pulled addictions. When I'm stressed about you, I drink or smoke. This can certainly be a partner, the very partner I spoke about a moment ago, somebody who is approaching you yet again after a long period of time, is curious, is afraid, maybe has some sense of remorse or guilt about the way things went down in the past. Perhaps recognizes that your value was too overwhelming, but they've changed. They've achieved some things, and yet there is a feeling that they're connected to an image of you from the past. And that sense that increasing sense of guilt precipitates this feeling of, I've got to escape from this overwhelming sense of destiny that I feel with Capricorn. I can't handle it. This can also refer to the way in which you have coped, the way which you have in the past, perhaps even in the present moment, used whatever addictions you would identify to release yourself from the pressure you may have felt in the past from this connection, right? This desperation for love, this awareness that perhaps they are seeing the bond that exists between you, and that they are coming to you to tell you how they now see things differently. And, that's the story that you may have felt, the illusion you may have built up about them in their absence, because this is somebody who's been absent from you. I'm going to pull Confessions of a Soulmate and see what other information we can get about you and them. So 2 cards fell out. I'm going to read the first one, Blessed. I'm blessed beyond the measure to share such a powerful divine love with you. I'm so grateful for you and give thanks to the divine creator. Embrace your beautiful divinity. You are a precious gift in my life. This feels to me like the peace that you're making with this relationship, whether it is approaching you or not. You've had to come to terms with what you once believed was this great love, uh, the greatest love of all time, the connection you had, and it was real, could not be greater. It must be obvious to everyone, yet you had to keep it secret. And in your coming to terms with that, you've actually come to accept the necessity for that painful disappointment in your life as a way of prompting you to provide yourself with what you imagined they could provide you with, which they never did. You've never had that from them. And you have come to an awareness that this is something you have to provide for yourself first. So the sense of being so blessed to be who you are is the beginning point in attracting another whole person who is complete within themselves, who does not enter into a relationship to be provided for, but to bring together your strengths and skills to build a relationship together. And finally, from the love messages, no communication, I have pulled, I feel so guilty about my action and what I said to you. So the presence of guilt here, and that's I'm signing to the other person, but I also believe you have taken full responsibility for the disappointment or the heartache that you experienced in that relationship. This person may feel a sense of guilt, but you understand that you too played a part in this unclear or disconnected desire for love. And so, in many ways, this is a sense of your own maturity through this. That if this person feels bad about things, you now understand that you participated in that. And it left you both feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and sad. I'm going to leave it here, Capricorn. Thank you so much for this reading. Until next time, namaste.